Hi everybody, my name's Andrew Allen Matthews. You can call me Andy. Now I'm going to show you the way I paint and produce my art and have a laugh along the way. Now my art is not a mathematical equation, it's a free-flowing style, and my art is for enjoyment and art for art's sake. So I used to work in the textile design industry as a commercial design separation artist and reproduced textile designs for the furniture and fashion industry for a decade. Reproduced designs for Laura Ashley, Sanderson's, Liberty Designs, Recteller, ABC Batik and all the major high street brands in the UK. Now I enjoyed my career in textiles, but it was restrictive, precise and detailed and did not allow me to express my art in my way. So now my art's developed into my own style and I enjoy painting the way I do now. So I now sell my art online through my own website, andrewallenmatthews.co.uk. Check it out. And I'm a best-selling artist with artgallery.co.uk. Now I'm going to show you the way I draw and paint, and hopefully it's not going to be like watching paint dry. Okay, so today it's going to be leading on from the last video. I said I was going to do a painting of Urbis. I finished the painting of Urbis now, and I said I was going to go out on a night out. Now I went out on a night out with my mate in Piccadilly, Manchester, and it was that night scene, and there was a lovely scene of the actual fountains. Now I don't know if you've ever been in Manchester, but that's a picture that I've taken, pieced it together on a panoramic cityscape of Piccadilly Gardens. So that's what I'm going to paint today. I'm going to do the sketch first of all on this one, and it's just really the first stage of it to get on with it. Now, bit of history on the actual Piccadilly Gardens. I'll tell you a bit of that as I'm getting along with the drawing. So, like I say, before 1755, the area was water-filled clay pits called the Daub holes, and the Lord and the Manor donated the site, and the pits were replaced by a fine ornamental pond in the centre of Piccadilly Gardens. Now 1755 the Manchester Royal Infirmary was built there, and the street was called Leavers Row at the time. That was in 1755, and in 1763 the Manchester Royal Lunatic Asylum was built next to the Manchester Royal Infirmary in Piccadilly Gardens there. And in 1910 the Manchester Royal Infirmary moved to its current site on Oxford Road in 1908. And the sunken garden was a remnant of the hospital's basement. Now there's a picture of me when I was a kid. That was Piccadilly Gardens in Manchester, what it looked like when I was a kid. Now, I always remember it being very colourful and nice haven back in them days when I was a kid. Now, Lowry himself, he actually painted at Piccadilly Gardens himself, and that was his painting of Piccadilly Gardens. And what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to put a modern twist on my artwork of cityscapes of Manchester, modern Manchester today. So that's what I'm doing. And that picture I've showed you before, it's got the fountain in the centre and with the buildings on looking onto the Arndale Centre and Debenhams. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. So during and after World War II, the area was used as a makeshift allotment as Britain's rationed vegetables, and vegetables were grown on much of the land there as well. Also, air raid shelters were built in Piccadilly Gardens to make the area safe from enemy bombs from the Luftwaffe. Now, my dad, he remembers sitting on the Great Western Street, Moss Side, and when he was a very young child, and he remembers a Messerschmitt strafing Great Western Street near him. And that was in Moss Side, that. But yeah, it's steeped in history, Piccadilly in Manchester. So I'm just going to do a sketch on this now. So I've just got to place where I'm going to have the new fountain that's in there now. So I'm just going to do the sketch. What I'll do, I'll show you as I'm going along with this. what I'll do, it's going to be a quick sketch on this. It's just really a guideline that I'm doing. Now all my artwork, I do start with guideline of where the artwork's going to be. And all it is, you know, you don't have to be a brilliant drawer to do this, because your main work is done with when you're painting. So I'm just building in the new the new waterfall that's there now. It's like really full of colours and bright colours at night, because when the fountains are raised through, they bring different colours through, and it looks fantastic. It was stood there for quite a while, mesmerised by it. Now Piccadilly Gardens is a bit of a contentious area at the minute, with Piccadilly, because a lot of people were looking back on nostalgia of what it used to be like I did. But like I say, a lot of crime and things are going on there as well, but there's also good things going on in there in Piccadilly Gardens as well. And they're lovely. I think it's a modern Manchester, but it's a bit of a contentious area, and people wanted it back as it used to be. I think you've got to move on with the times really, but I did like when I went out for a night out with my mate, and I went to Wetherspoons and had a good laugh and a joke, and just before Christmas, it's just after Christmas now, and had a good time with him, had a good catch up, putting the world to rights, being a bloody nutter like I normally am. Telling life how it is, trying to put the world to rights. Right. So I'm just getting a brief outline of what this is going to be like. It doesn't have to be accurate, because your main work is going to be done with the paint, just to give you a guideline of what you want. Like I was saying about Piccadilly, so like the Blitz continued in Manchester once in the Second World War, and when the war finished, like I say, the Manchester Blitz continued, and the city had never seen such devastation, and the Nazis boasted that Manchester had been burnt to the ground, which luckily it wasn't, but there was a lot of destruction around the towns and areas. When the war ended, Mancunians danced on the street and in Piccadilly Gardens on VE Day, in Piccadilly Gardens, so it's got a lot of history surrounding this as well. And I've done a few paintings of Piccadilly Gardens, but I've not done a night scene of Piccadilly Gardens, and I think it's appropriate because I've been on a night out and I did like it. So going on off that inspiration of that night out, having a good laugh and a joke, I think I'll put this in here now. So just having a look at this in a minute. I'll just put a brief outline of where I think it's going to be in the central position. There's going to be lots of colour in the skies and in the fountains itself, and having lots of characters. There'll be a few homeless people I'm going to put in there, because there's quite a few homeless people in Manchester nowadays. It's a bit of a crying shame at the minute, because you know, the government needs to be doing a lot more to helping people, I think. Right, anyway, so just building in where putting in these buildings, so it's unlocking the area. Look, where I'm viewing it from is the same as Lowry's view, similar to that, but a bit closer to the fountain, and it's going to be on looking towards the Arndale Centre and Debenhams. Now used to go to Debenhams when I was a kid, and it was also Lewis's there, where Primark is now. That used to be Lewis's, and and I always remember going there as a kid. Now, I had a paper round when I was a young lad. I had one in the morning and one at night, and I used to save up all my money and put it in the post office in Moss Side on Princess Road. And I wanted the ZX Spectrum came out back then. I don't know if you remember it. You youngsters probably won't know them, but ZX Spectrum is probably one of the computers that that was out at the time, and I wanted one, but my mum and dad couldn't afford it, so I had to save all my pocket money, which was I went to as a paper round and saved all my money, and took me about a year to save, doing Mind Your Car Mister, getting money that way, and also me paper round money, and saved up, I think it was about 120 quid at the time, which was a lot of money back then. Saved it all, withdrew it out, put it in my socks, and went down to town. Largest amount of money I had in my life at the time, 120 quid. And stuffed it in my socks, went on the bus into town, and gets to Debenhams and sees these ZX Spectrum were wanted at the time, and got it out to the lady at the checkout, and I took my socks off and put a big roll of £100 money full of sweaty socks to the cashier, and she wasn't impressed, but I was impressed by getting me ZX Spectrum. She gave me such a dirty look, getting me money out of my socks. But I used to play Jet Set Willie, Manic Miner, all the games at the time, and they used to be on tape discs, the programmes, and you used to sit there for about half an hour hearing the bleeping noises until it loaded, and then halfway through the bloody fingers usually crash and you have to start again until you manage to get the game up. Bloody brilliant that was at the time, couldn't believe it, because my first electronic game was when I used to go to Moss Side swimming baths in the Moss Side precinct, and in there they had the old arcade machines. The very first games that came out was a tennis game, like two bats like that and a ball coming through. I used to think it was bloody amazing. How do you get that on there, So yeah, so that's what we did when I was a kid. So let's have a look at this picture. Right, so I've got building at night. It's actually quite hard to see, but I know the buildings, so I can put them in as a guide. Now I've got the Arndale Centre that I'm putting in there as well. Now there needs to be a focal point, so I'm going to bring that up a bit in the sky. Like I say, art, the good beauty about art, you can add to and take away on this as well. And what I do, I kind of try and put my style on it. I don't do things accurate in my paintings. I do it as an impressionistic style. I'll show you this in a minute once how far I've got with this in a minute. Now what I like in Manchester nowadays is that you've got the mixture of old buildings and new buildings, and I just like the feel of the way Manchester's coming now. I mean, they're actually going to be building, I think they said about 5 skyscrapers in Manchester, and I think they just started doing some of them now. And there's lots of them on where Ancoats is. Loads of flats and buildings coming up at the moment as well. On Shude Hill, I've done a painting on Shude Hill, and I think they're just, the mixture of old and new looks really good to me. And I think it's just reflecting modern Manchester now. Like I say, well, nowadays was painting his works, he went round drawing from sketchbook, you know, colour drawing sketches, but you kind of don't need to do that now with the camera, especially if your phones, you can get really good pictures. So I tend to take photographs when I'm out and about with my artwork, and I don't do it accurately from the photos that I've actually got. I just do an impression from the photos, because I think if you wanted an accurate picture, then you can take photographs nowadays. Now I used to be like, do real photographic quality artwork in my artwork, and I don't tend to do that anymore. The kind of art that I do now is for enjoyment, and to enjoy what you're doing in your art. And it's all about free flowing style that I do. And in my opinion, because like I say, I used to work in the textile design industry, and it was very, very detailed work that we actually did, all hand painted before the computer came along. At the time, the computer just started to come into effect in the textile industry when I was there, and then I went to university because I had a bit of stress. Upset a few people, I think, but yeah, it's a kind of the computer started taking on when I was at university, and when I left, it was more like going that way. And then by the time I'd done my 3 years at university, a lot of the textile industry had moved on then, and a lot of the artwork wasn't hand produced. It was all done by the aid of computer, mainly because of cost cutting exercises, because when you had a collection of say 22 designs in some furnishing textiles or whatever it was, the designs were for, the art, there's a lot more availability for designers then, because they were able to produce lots of artworks and do colourways, and they used to get them to do it hand painted colourways to get the colours you wanted. But because the computer is so flexible, they were able to cut the costs of that really. So there's a lot of cost savings and I suppose it was more accurate reproducing the work. Now when I was a design separation artist, it was reproducing all the works for textiles, and a lot of it depended on your skill as an artist. Some artists were better than others, and your skills as an artist was to the forefront really. The better skilled you were, the better paid you got. No, I kind of like was there for about a decade, and there was a lot of talented artists in there, a lot of nice people, a lot of lovely people that I worked for, and it's a case, I don't know what happened to them all, but I don't know if the studio's still there. I know, because I know a lot of it went to Africa. The actual printing, like the print works, like it was like Strines, who used to be a textile company, printing company in up near Marple and that, I think it was. And we used to do a lot of work for them. And I remember going into the Strines printworks and looking at it's like really old factories, going back in the old cotton mills and all them days, properly old school stuff. And I was kind of like in the last death throes of the textile industry. And so I was kind of lucky in a way, because I got to see that side of the printing mills and that as well, you know. And I was kind of like in the last death throes of the textile industry, in the way they did things, like the copper roller printing and rotary screen printing. I don't know if that's still any companies in the UK doing that anymore. So I guess I was pretty lucky in a way, working in that industry. Are you when you used to work in an insurance company, and had the Science Museum in Manchester, you know, the Science Museum there, they got like the textiles in there. They got all the batiks and the printing and the cotton machines and still working and that. And I go in there, used to go in there quite regular to look at it all, you know, and it's kind of like a bit of nostalgia of Manchester as well. And if you ever get a chance, go in the Science Museum. We've got some fantastic textiles in there as well, and new and old technologies that they're inventing today. So I'm just actually putting brief outlines on these buildings now, of what I actually want. I think it's coming on nicely. It doesn't have to be completely accurate, and it's only a guide, so when I'm actually doing the main painting. Now, Piccadilly Gardens, now, like I say, in 2001-2003, the redevelopment of the gardens and the construction of one Piccadilly Gardens office building was done. Piccadilly Gardens was reconfigured in 2002 at a cost of £100 million with a water feature, which is what I'm drawing today. And it was on a concrete pavilion. It was all designed by a Japanese architect called Tadao Ando, who designed Piccadilly Gardens. Like I say, it's a contentious area, and the concrete pavilion has been dubbed as a Berlin Wall by locals. You can see why, because it's a bit of an ugly eyesore if you ask me, but something else needs to be done with that, I think, because it is like a Berlin Wall, you know. Some designer or architect should really have a look at that again, see what they can do with it. Maybe a redevelopment of it, maybe. It's a big open space now, Piccadilly Gardens, because it used to be a sunken feature with lots of flowers and flowers in bloom, and it was like a bit of a haven in Manchester there. So let's have a look. Painting. So just got so far on the picture. That's just a brief sketch of what I want from it. I'm getting there. It's coming on nicely, that. Let's have a look. I think I might. Yeah, it's coming on that. Like I say, I think just had some movement around there. And there's like pathways and walkways, and there's like a kind of brick wall there that people can sit on. That's around there. It's quite modern, which is not bad. So I'll build that into that as well. I'll have a few characters sat on the wall in there, sat there, whatever, just looking at the lights and things. Just putting in brief outlines of things there. Some people just sat there. There's another wall there as well. people standing by, looking out there. There's quite a lot of people walking about in the gardens there. So we'll get them in there. Like I say, in Manchester, it's a buzzing city, lots of nightlife, lovely places to visit and go. And this kind of is the hub of Manchester, is Piccadilly Gardens, because that's where the bus terminus is now. My dad used to be a bus driver, and before it was kind of redeveloped, where the bus terminus is now, it's an open area where, you know, everybody's open, and they're actually just, you know, milling about waiting for buses and things. But before, there used to be an enclosed area with a walkway on top, and where the canteen was for all the busmen. The busmen used to go in there. Now, my dad used to drive his buses, like I said, EM buses it was, and he used to go, obviously, park his bus, let all the passengers off, and then he'd go upstairs to this canteen. Now, my mum used to be a cleaner as well, and I say she was a cleaner, and she worked for GM buses as well, and she was above this canteen, worked in the canteen cleaning, and sometimes doing a bit of serving in the canteen. And this one particular time, my dad got off his bus, and he was going to obviously see my mum in there. And as he was coming in, I think this bus driver was giving my mum a bit of cheek, so having a laugh and a joke with her. But what my mum did was she was mopping with a mop, and I don't know what was said, but she wrapped this mop around this guy's head, and my dad just walked in as she was doing it. He was laughing his head off. But he wrapping a mop around this busman's head, he wasn't impressed. Sweaty old mop. Like I say, we weren't rich people. You know, we kind of lived in Moss Side, a poor area of Manchester, and we weren't rich people. But you made the best of it, don't you? You know, you get on with it. I always remember we weren't rich, and I was in Moss Side one time, and I wanted a pair of jeans. Didn't have a pair of jeans before, and my mum took me to this jean shop on Great Western Street, in the corner of Princess Road and Great Western Street. Had all different types of jeans, Wranglers, everything. Thought they were brilliant. Anyway, my mum couldn't really afford it, so she said, "I'll make you a pair." So she had to come out of the shop with no jeans, and then my mum went to the fabric shop and bought a length of jean material and made me a pair of jeans. Anyway, she made this pair of jeans. Don't know how long it took her to make. Anyway, put these jeans on, and they didn't have a bloody crutch in them, did they? I was bloody walking round, bloody, with no crutch in my jeans, like I'm bloody crippled. Bloody hell. That's how poor we were. Yeah. Like a lot of people in the 70s and 80s, a lot of people weren't rich then, and struggled a lot with a lot of things, you know. But you kind of just got on with it, when you're a kid, you just accept it, you know. You don't realise that there's other parts of the world. I mean, there's parts of the world where they're bloody struggling, they don't have any water or anything. But you wouldn't afford it in but yeah, that's what it is. I think we're very rich nowadays and very lucky in the day that we live in now. You know, a lot of people complain that they haven't got anything, but back in the 70s you really didn't have anything, you know. Nowadays you've got phones and all sorts of things. I'm a very rich man, me, you know. So this character's all coming on now. I'm going to have lots of characters in here on this painting, milling about. See some buildings in there. So the photo that I've got is it's only a small photo, but I'm just giving an impression of what I think is there. I'm doing it in my style. I'm not being accurate in what I'm doing. So you can get in there with that. I think there's a building up there as well, like a skyscraper, so I'll put an emphasis on that in there. Right. Right, so I'm getting up there. Right. So, I think I'm about done with that sketch now. And I'm gonna, like I say, get characters walking about all over the place. Sat on this wall here as well. Okay. So, there's me sketch. Let's see if you can see that. So that's my sketch I've done so far of what I'm going to do for Piccadilly Gardens. I'm going to do it as a night scene. I'm going to do it in the vibrant bright colours in the sky, and I'm also going to bring my darks and lights together. Now that's like the scene I've got on there. I'm going to put shadows in and people milling about at night with lots of lovely colours from this fountain. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so it's only a quick one today, so just showing you the sketch of what I do. The next video I'm going to do is the actual painting. Probably going to be after splitting a few bits, and then I'll probably do another one as well. But that's it for now. Hope you enjoyed the video. Be positive, guys, and I'll speak to you next time. All the best. All the best for the new year.